The night I realized my own son might be planning to have me killed, it was already too late to pretend I didn't see the signs. I still remember the smile in his voice, too calm, too rehearsed, when I told him I had lost every penny of my inheritance. He didn't hesitate. "Come stay with me, Mom. You know I got you." Lord. I almost believed him. My name is Lorraine Barker, 56 years old, born and raised on the south side of Chicago, and I have survived enough betrayal in my lifetime to recognize the scent of something rotten. But when it comes from your own blood, your only child, your mind still tries to fight the truth. Your heart makes excuses, even after your spirit is already screaming. 3 nights ago, I inherited $5 million from my late brother Samuel, the only person on this earth who never lied to me, the only man who ever protected me. And I made one single mistake. I told no one, except my lawyer, who, God forgive me, also handles my son's financial affairs. That's when everything changed. My son, Marcus, who hadn't called me in 3 months, suddenly blew up my phone at 11:47 p.m., acting worried, panicked even, asking if I was okay. Telling me he had a bad feeling. Telling me he missed me. Telling me he loved me. I should have known right then. Love doesn't sound like it's reading off a script. But I tested him. I told him I'd lost everything instead. Told him I was homeless. Told him I needed to stay with him until I could find a job cleaning houses again. And just like that, his tone switched to angelic. "Oh my God, Mom. Say less. You know I'll always take care of you. Come first thing in the morning. I'll text you the address. You can stay as long as you want." It should have brought me peace. But something in his voice felt too smooth. Too professional. Not my baby. More like a customer service representative trying to close a sale. Still, he was my son. My only child. The boy I once rocked to sleep while singing gospel loud enough to cover my crying. The boy I worked double factory shifts for so he could live like somebody. So I convinced myself I was being paranoid. But when he sent the address, that's when the wind in my chest shifted. It wasn't his home. Not even the same side of town. A part of Gary, Indiana locals whisper about, not visit. But I went. At 7:12 a.m., I arrived with 2 suitcases, ash still in the morning air, the smell of burnt rubber floating heavy. The house Marcus gave me didn't look like a home at all. The windows were boarded. No curtains. No mailbox. The door looked like it had been kicked in before, more than once. My stomach started to turn. I wasn't even fully out the car when I heard a screen door slap open across the street. An old black woman in a robe leaned forward from her porch, watching me carefully like she already knew something I didn't. "You don't live there," she said, not asked, warned. I froze. "Excuse me?" I said. She didn't blink. "Nobody lives there, baby. Not since the last woman was taken from it in the middle of the night." She said it too calmly. Too matter-of-fact. Like it wasn't a rumor. Like it was documented. A chill crawled up my spine and sat behind my neck like a hand. I didn't move. The woman stood up now, firmer. More urgent. "You get back in that car and you leave. Right now. Don't even knock on that door." The wind went dead silent. That's when I knew. My son didn't send me to shelter. He sent me to disappear. I didn't even touch the door. My fingers were inches from reaching for the handle when something in my chest, a voice I had ignored for too many years, said, "Drive. Now. Don't look back." I didn't thank the old woman across the street. Didn't wave. Didn't think. I grabbed my keys with shaking hands and slid back behind the wheel before my suitcases were even fully settled in the trunk. And as I reversed slowly, that's when I saw it. A black Chevy Suburban, windows tinted blacker than sin, easing around the corner. No headlights. No rush. Too deliberate. It wasn't coming toward me. It was positioning. Like it expected me to go inside. My breathing went shallow. Not loud. Just, controlled. That kind of breathing you do when you've already accepted that panic will get you killed before a bullet will. I didn't slam the gas. I rolled away calmly. As if nothing was wrong. As if I was just visiting. That car didn't stop. It simply adjusted direction. Following me. Not speeding. Not chasing. Just matching. The old woman on the porch watched the whole thing, her eyes wide now. Her mouth open. She wasn't warning me anymore. She was praying. I turned the corner. 2 more streets. Then I floored it. I didn't look back for blocks. Didn't breathe right until I made it back onto the highway toward Chicago, heart pounding so hard it shook the steering wheel. My phone buzzed. Marcus. I didn't pick up. A second call. A third. Then the voicemail alert came. I didn't listen right away. I just kept driving. Miles later, when I finally pulled into a Walmart parking lot, where people and cameras and daylight felt like safety, I sat for a moment before pressing play. Marcus's voice came through on speaker, loud and fake frantic. Mom. Mom, where are you? You said you were coming this morning. Are you okay? Are you lost? Call me back right now. I'm worried sick. I cut the message off before it finished. Worried. Right. He wasn't calling because I was missing. He was calling because I didn't show up. And for the first time in my life, I allowed myself to believe something I once thought unforgivable. My son didn't love me. He wanted me gone. My hands tightened around the steering wheel. I wasn't going back home. I wasn't going anywhere predictable. I still had access to my own bank accounts, my car, my name, and a $5 million secret. But I needed to think, strategize, see clearly before I moved. I checked every mirror around me. The black Suburban wasn't there, but the fear remained. I drove to the one place that would never cross Marcus's mind. A nearly abandoned old church on the west outskirts, one I used to clean as a side job back in my struggle days. The pastor had long since retired. The door code was still the same. I entered the sanctuary slowly. Silence. No choir. No congregation. Just the smell of old hymn books and dust. I walked down the aisle and sat in the third pew, the one I used to rest in when my knees gave out after mopping. I didn't pray. Not yet. I just exhaled everything I'd been holding in. This was not an accident. Not paranoia. Not imagination. Someone, possibly my own blood, had orchestrated this. Which meant I had a choice. Keep running. Or turn into the woman nobody sees coming. I reached slowly into my purse and pulled out a burner phone I had never told Marcus existed. I dialed a number I swore I would never use again. A voice answered on the second ring, female. Controlled. Dangerous. Lorraine. Yes, I said quietly. Long pause. Then only 4 words. So, it's finally him. Say it, the woman on the line whispered. I closed my eyes. And for the first time, I said it out loud. My son is trying to get me killed. Silence. Not shock. Not disbelief. A pause of confirmation. Like she'd been waiting years to hear me accept it. Her name is Danielle Ross. We are not friends. We are not family. But years ago, when Marcus was still a teenager, I paid her cash to make a situation disappear. She is the kind of woman you never admit you know. The kind of woman you never call unless you are ready to accept the consequences of the truth that follows. You need a safe house, she asked. No, I whispered. I need clarity. About what? Who told him about the inheritance? Another pause. Footsteps on her end of the line. A door closing. Then her voice dropped to a different temperature. You're sure he didn't already know before you told your lawyer? My heartbeat stuttered. She wasn't questioning like a friend. She was studying the trail. I never told Marcus, I said. Not a word. But the lawyer knows. Yes. And that lawyer has a gambling problem. I froze. How did you? You hired me, she said flatly. I've been watching longer than you think. My mouth went dry. Lorraine, she said. I need you to listen very carefully. I could hear a vehicle starting on her side. The sound of gravel. Movement. You cannot give your son the benefit of the doubt anymore. You have protected him for decades. You have lied to yourself for decades. But this is intentional. Premeditated. And it started before you ever had $5 million. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Because deep inside, I had already known. There was a time, Marcus was 18, when a strange charge appeared on my bank account. A $14,000 personal loan I never authorized. I thought it was fraud. I filed a dispute. Weeks later, the bank dropped the claim, because the IP address matched my house. And Marcus suddenly had a brand new motorcycle he claimed a friend let him borrow. I looked the other way. 4 years. And now, the blood on my hands was my own. Danielle's voice cut through my spiral. You are not the victim here. Not anymore. If you remain passive, you will disappear. And it will be ruled an accident. Or a robbery. Or nothing at all. My breath trembled. What do I do? A slow, chilling inhale from her end. You play the role he expects you to play. The weak mother. The desperate fool. The woman with nowhere else to go. Why? So he shows you who else is involved. I went silent. She continued. Marcus is too clean to make a move himself. He will contract it out. He already did. Which means there is someone else who knows your face. Someone dangerous. Someone who believes you are already dead. My hands began to shake. It's not enough to run, she said. You need names. I'm listening. You will drive back toward Chicago. Not home, not to your routine. You will choose a public space. A diner. A store. Anywhere with cameras. And you will text Marcus 3 simple words. I swallowed. What words? Her voice lowered to a razor's whisper. I need help. I closed my eyes. If you send that text, she said, he will move. And when he moves, I will see who moves with him. A beat of silence. And Lorraine. Yes. Do. Not. Trust. Law enforcement. Yet. The call ended. My reflection in the dusty church window no longer looked like a helpless mother. She looked like a woman on the verge of becoming something far more dangerous. I stood, brushed off my hands, and whispered to the empty sanctuary. You want to hunt me, Marcus? Then learn, I am not prey anymore. I took one last look at that pulpit. Then I walked out, ready to begin playing dead. For the first time in my life. I sat in the driver's seat outside a 24-hour diner in Joliet, engine off, mind steady. Not calm, steady. There's a difference. Calm is peace. Steady is when your soul finally stops lying to you. I pulled out my primary phone, the one Marcus knows. The one I almost threw out the window on instinct. I opened our last message. His fake worried mom. Are you safe? Still sitting there like poison dressed as love. And I typed only 3 words, exactly as Danielle instructed. I need help. I didn't add a single period. Not a story. Not panic. Not desperation. Just vulnerability. Then I waited. Nothing. Not for 5 minutes. Not for 10. I wasn't surprised. Marcus was calculating. He'd wait. Confirm. Ensure conditions were optimized. I already knew what he was checking for, location. Whether I was truly weakened. Alone. Trackable. That's why I chose the diner. It wasn't crowded, but it wasn't empty. 1 waitress. 2 truckers eating in silence. And cameras. Visible. Everywhere. He'd see that. He'd stall. He didn't know I had already switched battlegrounds. Because what my son was up against now wasn't just a scared mother. He was up against a woman trained by reality. By poverty. By survival. By men who underestimated her and regretted breathing long enough to realize it. I waited exactly 17 more minutes. Then my phone buzzed. Marcus. Where are you? Send location. I'll come right now. No hesitation. No questions. Too quick. He was ready. Which meant, someone was already nearby. He didn't need to travel. He just needed me stationary. I replied. I can't. I need you to send someone. I don't feel safe. A careful test. 10 seconds later. Marcus. I'll send my friend Trey. There it was. He didn't ask what happened. Didn't ask if I called 911. Didn't even ask why I didn't just come home. He already had a plan. A name. Trey. I had never heard of him. Which meant Trey wasn't a friend. Trey was an asset. I texted back, okay. I put my phone down. Outside the diner, the wind shifted, dry and sharp. A black sedan pulled 2 lots over. Engine still running. Driver didn't exit. Didn't even lean. Watching. Marcus thought I was watching the door for a savior. But I was watching the lot for a predator. I wasn't running this time. I waited. Then, I did something no frightened mother would do. I stood up and walked out. Slow. Controlled. Purse in hand. Eyes down just enough to look overwhelmed. I walked toward the sedan. Not away. The engine suddenly shut off. But the driver still didn't exit. Not Trey. Whoever this was, he wasn't the one meant to touch me. I passed him. Never turning my head. At the edge of the lot, I saw it. The real vehicle. A silver Honda. Ordinary. Unremarkable. Parked near the dumpster. Engine silent, but fresh heat coming off the hood. A man leaned against the driver door. Hoodie. Head lowered. Hands in pockets. Too still. Too calm. That was Trey. And he was waiting for me to step into reach. I never did. Instead, I dropped my purse on purpose. Let it scatter. Small chaos. Played flustered. Not scared. Bent slow to gather it, but angled my face just long enough to capture his. In the chrome reflection of a parked truck beside me, I saw it clearly. Enough to know him again. Enough to ruin him. Then I whispered, without looking up. Danielle. You see him. And somewhere, watching, she did. I stood slowly. Collected the last lip balm from the pavement. Then turned, but not to Marcus's killer. I walked straight back inside. Because staying alive doesn't mean hiding. It means controlling the timing of the kill. And he didn't know. I had already seen his face. I sat alone in that dark motel outside Atlanta, lights off, back against the headboard, hands locked together like I was praying to a god I wasn't sure was still listening to me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there and replayed everything. The fake address. The whispering neighbors warning me without even knowing they were saving me. The thick smell of bleach coming from inside that quiet house. And the worst part, the truth that cut through me like a surgical knife. My own son did not care if I died. Not just didn't care, he planned for it. I could feel my pulse in my tongue. My body temperature wouldn't regulate. It felt like my skin wasn't attached to me anymore. My hands were steady, too steady. That's how I knew something in me was gone forever. Once you cross over into this kind of knowing, you don't go back. I didn't call the police. Didn't call a friend. Didn't call a soul. I just reached for my purse, slow, methodical, and pulled out the one thing I never thought I would ever need. His graduation photo. His smile. His cap tilted crooked like always. I studied it, really looked at it, and I realized something chilling. I had raised a boy. The world had turned him into a hunter. And now, he believed I was prey. I laid that photo face down on the nightstand. No memory. No sentiment. No mercy. My mind shifted into another gear entirely. Not mother. Not victim. Something else. Execution mode. I opened my laptop. You don't survive 30 years as a woman carrying family money, trust funds, business transfers, long-form filings, without learning how digital footprints reveal the monsters faster than the law ever does. I didn't go through his phone. That's what a weak woman would do. I went through his financial patterns. His anonymous crypto withdrawals. His quiet wire transfers at 3:17 a.m. And then I found it. A scheduled transfer, set for 2 weeks from now, using my credentials. The full $5 million. He wasn't gonna wait on my death to unlock it. He had already unlocked it. A numb warmth spread through my spine, not rage, not panic, clarity. He was using dead-end cyber laundering channels connected to a private network account. An account registered under a name I recognized instantly. His biological father. The man who abandoned us in Memphis when my son was only 3. That's when the final door opened in my mind. This wasn't just my son. This was the return of everything I thought I escaped. Bloodlines repeat when mothers stay silent. I closed the laptop. One thought. This time, I will not be prey. I stood. Tightened my coat. Picked up my phone. Not to call him, not yet. I called someone he never would have expected. The one man who once tried to destroy me, and failed. A quiet voice answered on the second ring. He didn't say hello. He said, "I knew you'd return one day." I didn't explain what happened. I didn't justify. Didn't waste one breath on context. I said just 8 words, slow, steady, deadly. "I'm ready now. And I want it silent." He paused. Then answered. Then this time, he'll never see it coming. The sun hadn't even risen when I stepped out that motel door. The parking lot was wet from a 3 a.m. rain, streetlights still bleeding across the asphalt like gold veins. The world was quiet, that rare hour when even God is deciding whether to look or not. And for the first time in my life, I wanted him to look away. I wasn't running anymore. I was moving with purpose. Like a woman who already buried every weakness she once had. The man I called, the one my son didn't know even existed, sent a black Lincoln to pick me up before dawn. No license plate. Windows tinted to the bone. He never met me at the motel. He wouldn't. That's not how men like him operate. The driver didn't speak. Not a word. Just opened the back door slow, respectful, like I was royalty or a weapon. Maybe both. I stepped in. The city rolled past in silence. Every mile away from that motel felt like a layer of my old life shedding and falling behind us. I didn't cry. I didn't flinch. I was ready. An hour later, we were deep, far past Atlanta, entering a private gated compound carved into the woods. No number. No mailbox. No God. The gate opened before we even stopped. You don't request entrance here, you are either expected, or you die at the gate. The house wasn't a house. It was a fortress disguised as quiet wealth. Concrete bones beneath handcrafted wood. Something that told you, this place could withstand a war or erase one without a headline. He was already waiting. Standing inside the glass entryway, unchanged. Older, yes. But his aura, untouched. Predatory calm. Lucius Kane. The man who used to own me before I ever learned what ownership really meant. I expected gloating, that smirk predators wear when the prey walks back into the cage willingly. But he looked at me. And bowed his head. Bowed. Not out of apology. Out of recognition. You don't want peace, he said quietly. You want precision. I stepped forward. No greeting. No pleasantries. I want him erased. He nodded slowly, eyes never blinking. No traces. No loose ends, he asked. I locked eyes with him. I want his soul to regret ever being born. A stillness fell between us, sharp, charged. He understood. Not death. Punishment beyond death. He extended an arm. Then we begin today. Underground. No lights until he spoke. The space lit itself as we walked, motion triggered, revealing a war room layered with digital feeds, off-grid surveillance, systems that could track a man's breath before the police even learn his name. He had already started without me. My son's photo was on the wall. Not smiling this time, an image grabbed from a security camera. Eyes cold. Hoodie on. Behind him, a second photo. His father. Lucius caught my stare, didn't flinch. Yes, he said. His back too. So this was never random. This wasn't greed. This wasn't panic. This was legacy reborn. 2 men, blood-linked monsters, planning a financial kill clean enough to bury me under legal smoke forever. My hands curled slowly at my sides. Not shaking. Lucius didn't ask permission. He ran a digital map. A timeline. Money movements. Trust accounts. Hidden shells. Underground exchanges. It was already deeper than I imagined. Then he spoke the words that told me this went further than betrayal. Your son was never planning to just take the money. He turned to me, voice low. He was planning to erase your existence from national records. For the first time since this began, I felt something colder than rage. Not fear. Calculating patience. I stepped closer to the screen, and for the first time, my voice dropped to almost a whisper. Then he will live long enough to understand the cost of trying to make me disappear. Lucius smiled, gently. Predators recognize evolution. The lights across the entire war room flickered alive. Phase 1, hunt, had officially begun. Lucius moved like a surgeon, not a criminal. Every screen in that underground war room shifted at once. My son's movements, his devices, his biometric traces, places he thought were untraceable. The world truly did feel like a small room if you had the right power. I watched him pull up data from my son's phone. Not texts. Not calls. Unsent messages. Draft emails. Deleted voice memos. Even doorway echoes his phone MIC accidentally picked up as it sat in his pocket. This wasn't technology. This was God mode. Lucius glanced over his shoulder at me. You're sharpening a blade, he said. Not swinging an axe. Understand the difference. I didn't answer. I just nodded once. He zoomed in on a feed from Richmond County. A private little luxury condo tower. White marble lobby. Concierge. That quiet kind of expensive that doesn't announce it, it waits for you to recognize it or feel inferior. My son walked through the frame wearing confidence like armor. Lucius paused the screen, just before my son disappeared into the elevator. He's visiting someone. Not a friend. An investor. Investor. He narrowed the shot, revealing a man waiting on the 19th floor. His father. Same man who once disappeared from my life, and left me to rebuild everything alone. Now they stood together, two men who shared nothing until they shared a target. Me. There was no shaking in my hands. No tears. No tremble. Nothing left to feel. Lucius was watching me. You decide, he said. You want him shattered, or you want him shaped. I turned slowly toward him. Both. He smiled, like he expected that. Within the hour, Lucius initiated phase 1. Not an attack. A warning so silent it wouldn't feel like one. Not loud enough to trigger panic. Just enough to infect my son's certainty. One of Lucius's people, a woman, infiltrated the 19th floor access register through a ghost identity. She never physically arrived. Her presence was just data. A phantom. But she left something behind. A trace. Only detectable to paranoid men. Men who've destroyed enough people to sense when death just walked in behind them. It took exactly 16 minutes. At 2:43 p.m., we watched both of their heads turn at the same time, just slightly. No sound. No voice. No visual. Just intuition. Fear of being prey. That's how the hunt really starts. By nightfall, Lucius had already pulled the next thread. Every predator, he said, tapping the screen, hides the proof of their survival in one place they believe no one will ever find. And then it appeared. A storage facility. Not a public one, a rerouted unit inside a salvage yard in Charlotte. Old cars. Neutral land. Dead zone. Registered under my son's father. Lucius didn't need to say it, I already knew. That was where the blueprint of my erasure lived. Not death. Legal removal. Digital annihilation. Every trace of my existence, wiped. This is where we go next, Lucius said. But then, he turned toward me. This time, slower. Studying me. You lead. I didn't hesitate. I stepped forward, eyes still on the feed, and I said the words quietly, to no one but fate itself. Then let him feel watched. Not killed. Not touched. Hunted. The difference is everything. My son did not notice the hunt at first. Men like him rarely do. They don't feel fear until it passes their reflection. And that is exactly where Lucius struck first. 9:02 a.m., the morning after the phantom signature was left in that private building. My son's father left first. He always left first. Left women. Left children. Left responsibility. Left flames behind him like they were shadows. My son stayed behind, scrolling casually through his phone in the luxury condo living room. Everything looked untouched. Everything was untouched. But when you plan evil, you start to sense it. He froze. Not dramatically. Not in horror. Just paused. Eyes narrowed, calculating air. He got up slowly, walked across the room, and checked the front lock even though it had a biometric seal. He checked the terrace door. He checked the hallway camera, the one only he knew was hidden behind the decorative frame. He saw nothing. But men like him don't need to see anything to feel hunted. They simply recognize that the world doesn't feel submissive anymore. That's when he made his first mistake. Not fear. He spoke out loud. As if the predator could hear him. Who sent you? He said it to empty air. But Lucius and I were watching. And I smiled. Meanwhile, Lucius had already engaged phase 2. His world must shrink before it breaks, he said. And it began. Not a hit. Not violence. A slow erasure of control. His bank authentication app glitched once. His encrypted notes folder vanished for half a second, then returned. A key contact in Dubai stopped replying, even though that man never ignored a message. A silent notification appeared in his phone logs. No name. Just 3 dots. Then gone. And the best part? None of it was permanent. Yet. I wasn't trying to knock him down. I was pulling the ground back just 1 inch. Then another. Then another. Until he realized there was no ground. By noon, he was agitated. Pacing. Sweating, but not from heat. From instinct. He went to his father, who was sitting calmly, sipping coffee like devils do. I think someone's watching us. His father didn't even look at him. Of course someone's watching us, he said. Power makes you observed, not safe. But my son wasn't talking about that. He wasn't talking about rivals. Lawyers. Political opponents. He felt hunted. Not challenged. That's a different kind of terror. His father finally looked at him, annoyed. Then be unpredictable, he said, or be prey. And that was when everything escalated. He left the condo within 3 minutes, grabbed his keys, got into his black Mercedes, sped toward his private storage site. The one Lucius had already found. The one I was waiting for. The one where he thought he hid the blueprint to erase me. But as his car pulled up, the motion sensor lights flicked on. And he saw something he never should have seen. His own name, burned into the rusted steel gate. 3 precise letters. Scorched. Hand-marked. Silent. L-E-F-T. He stared at it. And for the first time since childhood, he locked his car door. From the inside. Not because he feared death. Because for the first time in his life, he feared being abandoned by control. And that was the moment he finally understood. He was no longer the one writing the ending. He didn't run. He couldn't. Predators don't know how to run, only how to dominate. And yet right then, inside that abandoned salvage sector in Charlotte, for the first time in his life, my son did not know what move to make next. The word burned into the metal gate, left, kept echoing inside him. Not as a threat. As a fate. A destiny warning. He stepped out of the Mercedes. No security team. No father. No backup. He wanted no witnesses to his fear. The gravel crunched under his custom Italian shoes as he walked toward that rusted metal gate, the one he thought was invisible. Forgotten. Safe. He placed his palm on the word, the burn still faintly warm. As if whoever carved it was just here. Inside the salvage yard, the air was too still. Dead air. A place where even birds didn't bother singing. He fumbled for his phone, but no signal. Not weak. Dead. Signal killed. He whispered into the still air, the same fatal mistake again. Who are you? And before the echo even reached silence, One single screen flashed on in the far back of the warehouse. Just one. Not threatening. Not loud. Simply, waiting. He moved toward it. And there she was. Me. Sitting calmly. Unblinking. Not live, a still frame from the night I almost died walking into that house he gave me. The screen stayed frozen. No audio. Then words wrote themselves onto the glass. You led me to death. I will lead you to truth. He stumbled back. And every single screen in the warehouse lit up. Not with my face. With his. Every dark secret. Every bank transfer that came from men with no names. Documents showing his father scouting an heir with no mother attached. And then. The blueprint. The actual legal operation. Every step of how they would digitally erase my citizenship, reassign my bank ownership to lost status, freeze me in pre-death asset evaluation. They wouldn't kill me. They would delete me. Slowly. Legally. Permanently. My son saw it all. His throat locked. He didn't even blink when the lights behind him came on. He turned. And I was standing there. Not on a screen. Alive. And not broken. Not even trembling. Just present. He froze. Couldn't speak. That confidence, that perfect arrogance, was gone. I walked closer. Slow. Controlled. Silent as water. My voice never rose. You chose him over me, I said quietly. I've survived betrayal before. But this, you calculated the price of my existence. He tried to speak, Mom. I lifted one hand. He stopped. I stepped even closer, until he had no space left to pretend. Do you know what the word left means? His eyes answered before his mouth could. I stepped around him, looking at the screens behind him. You didn't plan to kill me. You planned to make me untraceable. So no one could bury me. So no one could remember me. So no one could love me. He was silent. He understood that I understood. And that terrified him more than death. That was when the warehouse screens changed again. This time, Lucius streamed him live. A secure private global feed. Projected straight onto the eyes of every silent investor, lawyer, co-conspirator, and silent hyena that agreed to my erasure. They were watching him now. Their prodigy. Their golden heir. And everything about his soul was now public. He looked at me, panicked. Please, don't. I cut him off. You wanted my legacy. I stepped even closer, so close he smelled the jasmine oil I always wore when I tucked him in as a child. Now you live inside it. Not dead. Exposed. Forever. He fell. His knees didn't bend with grace. They buckled like glass breaking. He didn't hide his shame this time. He wept. And I did not touch him. Did not comfort him. Did not end him. That would make me his equal. And I am not. I turned away. Lucius was already opening the exit gate for me. My son tried to speak one last time. But I did not even grant him the mercy of memory. I walked out. And left him exactly as he planned to leave me. Unclaimed. Unprotected. And forgotten by the only person who ever truly loved him. If you're still listening, and you stayed with me this far, go on and like and subscribe right now. Not because I asked you to, but because a mother who survives betrayal deserves her voice kept alive. That's all.